Sean retired in 2018, Teekay named their largest and newest LNG tanker the Sean Spirit, with Sean, Ginny, their 4 daughters and families present in Korea for the christening. The Cape Times featured the event in a 1-page special. Sean has never forgotten his roots in South Africa. With a local friend and 47 containers donated by SAF Marine, all welded together to create classrooms and dormitories, Sean helped create a school in Simonstown, which is the home of the South African Navy, for poor kids from all over South Africa. When the structure started to corrode away with Sean and the support of the Teekay Foundation, real brick buildings were built, and the school is now called the Law Hill Maritime Center, and has educated hundreds of young South Africans who've been fed into maritime careers. From a young boy reading the Cape Times to young WAHO students reading of the new tanker Sean Spirit in the same Cape Times, Sean's career in shipping has been a memorable and unique adventure. I'm honored to present my friend Sean Day. Before Sean speaks, I have the award, which I don't need to read, but it repeats some of the things I said, and it's from Capital Link for Sean. Thank you. I'll take it down to the table. Okay.
Good afternoon. Rich, thank you for your kind and generous remarks. You've been a great friend for a long time. Rich is an incredible sailor, and one of the great joys of my life has been sailing with Rich. I'll never forget sailing back from Bermuda one time, and I was up on deck at 1 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, dark, and we were just entering the Gulf Stream, and suddenly a squall hit us and just like flattened the boat. Rich was fast asleep down below. He calmly came back up on deck, and together we brought down the mainsail and trimmed the sails, and he calmly went back down to his bunk again down below, having nearly flipped the boat in the middle ocean. What I think is one of the best things about a good skipper is calm when there are problems, and Rich is great for that. Rich, you also mentioned a ship named after me. I've got to say that when I went to sea as a 17-year-old on a break bulk ship, never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined that one day a ship nearly 3 football fields long would be named after me. So I've got to say that's one of the joys of a 50-year career in the industry. Now, getting on to today's event. I've got to confess that I was a little taken aback to realize I was receiving this award on April Fool's Day. But I hope, Nikolas, that was just a coincidence. Okay, on a more serious note, I thought I would share some thoughts with you today as I've reflected on more than 50 years in the shipping industry. And 4 concerns come to mind as I think about the shipping industry today and what we're facing over the next decade. Safety is always our #1 priority. And cyber threats today threaten us, and in particular I worry about navigation systems. Ships rely today so much on electronic systems. In my day, of course, we used to take the sextant out, we used to shoot the stars in the morning and evening, the sun in the afternoon, plot it all on a paper chart. Today they just look at their GPS and say that's where we are. It's a heavy reliance on electronic instruments. And I read more and more about hackers hacking into the GPS system on coastlines around the world, and ships increasingly finding problems with their navigation systems. So, like all of us, in all of our businesses, cybersecurity is a major issue, in shipping it's even more major because it threatens your safety. Second, we need to be ready for massive change in the industry. Very little has changed in our industry in the past 100 years, and I don't believe our industry is ready for change now. I vividly remember how the advent of containers wiped out many long-established shipping companies back in the 1970s. When I was sailing on an old 1944-built Victory ship back in the 1960s on the coast of the US, I remember our captain looking at one of these funny-looking new box boats, and he said, "Those crazy Yanks, they think you can put everything into big boxes. What a stupid idea." Well, he was the stupid one, but he was echoing what the industry thought, and something like 80% of the traditional shipping lines went out of business when containerization came along. And I think that's a good lesson of how our industry has to prepare for change, be ready for change. Today we're facing everything from IMO 2020 in the immediate future to massive digitalization and much greater technology adoption in all aspects of shipbuilding and operating following close behind. Are we ready for this? Are we staffed to handle mega changes? Or will we see another shakeout like the containerization one? I think it's a real issue in the next decade. Next, people. People are critical to every industry, but especially to ours. Having grown up in South Africa, I was fortunate to spend many hours on the waterfront in Cape Town, riding tugs in the harbour, watching shipping movements, talking to merchant seamen. I fell in love with ships in the sea and avidly read the shipping news in the newspaper each morning. But I worry today that we keep kids so far from ships for security reasons that very few get access to them or even exposed to them. And press rarely reports anything other than bad news about ships. We rarely see good articles about ships in the newspaper. I think it's a pity. We need to attract young talent to our industry. There are maritime schools that we at Teekay support in South Africa, one Rich mentioned, one which my family is very much involved with, has been a big success, and we also support one in the Philippines. But we need to attract college graduates too. We need to attract techies. We need to attract talented young managers to deal with the new and very different challenges of the 21st century. And I think that's going to be an issue for our industry. My final thought is this, the most fundamental issue of all. How do we ever restore reasonable profitability in our industry? In a highly competitive global transport industry, how does one achieve a decent return on capital? There are virtually no barriers to entry, as we all know, and if you have a very well-maintained modern fleet, you often find yourself competing with others who are low cost and operating poorly maintained older vessels. But you compete with them head-on at the same rates. Our pricing often makes no sense. For example, one of the things I remember going into the Wall Street was how carefully options are priced on Wall Street. We in shipping don't price options, we just add them on the charters as sort of, part of the deal, just add a few options. Perhaps a digitalization of the industry will be something that can be managed for a decent margin going forward. Time will tell. But today, if you don't operate in a specialized niche, profitability only comes from playing the cycle correctly. And playing the cycle correctly is a combination of really good luck and some good judgment. And that's pretty tough to keep on doing that consistently. We don't like to admit it, those of us in the industry, but it's true. It's extremely difficult to achieve a decent return on capital. So to me, those are the major issues which the next generation of managers will face, and they'll be very challenging. And so I will sit back with my grey hair and watch from the sidelines and be very interested to see how the industry copes with this over the next couple of decades. So thank you very much. Thank you, Nikolas, for this award. Thank you all for being here.
Thank thank you for stopping me eating my cake. Also, I think it's a very good situation. First of all, I would like to congratulate Mr. Day for his achievements so far. And without knowing, you gave us another idea that Nikos and Stefan have already put in line. From now on, April 1st, April's full day, will be Shipping Equities Day at the New York Stock Exchange. So I think this is... Good afternoon, dear friends and colleagues. It's a real pleasure to introduce Paolo d'Amico to the few of you who do not already know him. In my long years as INTERTANKO chairman, I was very lucky to have a vice chairman that carries such weight, not literally. Paolo embodies all the qualities and much more that INTERTANKO needs and represents. He has energy, dynamism, and a huge experience in running a family-valued shipping company who is still public. And he's smart enough to keep it quoted on the beautiful Milano Stock Exchange, sorry Stefan, rather than the New York Stock Exchange, which we all love anyway, that's why we're here. Paolo has been involved in every aspect of the business, from the boiler room to the boardroom. A man that can be chairman of the Italian Ship Owners Association and still be here today is the man for the job. Congratulations. His presence in INTERTANKO continues the long tradition of Greco-Roman ruling of the seas. But above all his accomplishments, his titles, his knighthood, one trait stands out. True to his liquid product tradition, Paolo produces the best wine in Italy. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, Paolo d'Amico.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, I apologize for my voice, but I am a victim of the New York weather, so I'm very happy to be here in the name of INTERTANKO, and I thank Nikolas for this. I have to be extremely careful how I behave and what I say, because I have two former INTERTANKO chairmen at my table. They are looking at me and they are reading me and what I will say and how I do things. Before we touch base on the usual IMO problems that you probably you had enough of them, and you will be hearing the whole day and more, I will start from another point, which is extremely important for us in INTERTANKO, and this is safety. Now, thanks to a fantastic relationship with Nikos Tsakos, my friend and previous chairman of the association, we have a very good relationship with OCINT. OCINT is the safety body of the oil company, energy company today. And we built up not only a close relationship and partnership, but we are working on how to measure the behavior of our people on board ships in a way to bring down the number of accidents. So the knowledge is very good, and it is one of INTERTANKO, let's say, members' aspects. But where we want to work on is on their behavior, because you can be Einstein, but if you don't behave well, you can create a problem, and you can have an accident anyhow. So, analyzing their behavior and seeing how, and building a safety culture, which is not that obvious in board of ships, because we have to be always on top of them, even if their life is at stake. Doing that, we can study trends on which we can build then manual procedures, and not only that, but really build up the safety culture on board. Also out of that, we can analyze the accidents, and what is most important is from these accidents to understand if there are fixed trends and repeating accidents or repeating trends in a way to intervene on this and be more effective. All this is written in two guides published by Otim and by us in INTERTANKO. And if really you do not know what to do at night, you just download it from the INTERTANKO website, and I can tell you will be asleep very soon, pretty fast. And then, of course, I cannot leave a podium without talking about a second about IMO 2020, but I think it's something absolutely madness, because I'm dreaming to get to 2020 just to jump on it, because I had enough of this headache saying, but if this happens, what happens? If this happens, what happens? If this happens, what happens? There are so many variables in this thing that everything can happen. So better it happens first than later, and let's stop it. Certainly, we are jumping in a deep revolution. Not only, this is said also by the oil people. Even in the oil industry, such a change has never happened. And we have to face it. We, of course, expect a lot from the next IMO meeting in May, because from there we are going to get the guidelines to how to behave and how to act when, even of course, in good faith, you find yourself that you are not with the right fuel in the right place. And this is going to happen. You can bet on that. Of course, it's very complicated, because up to now we did limited areas of the world, of the planet, with the ECA and the SECA, and that was by far easier. And even being easier, there have been a lot of problems there. Now we are talking about the entire planet. So it's a big thing, and it can happen everywhere to the most and the best owner on the system. Certainly our bunker desk are the driving force today for what is going to happen tomorrow. For instance, for us in tankers, we often fix with many discharge options. And now this discharge option has to be analyzed and see if we can give these options out. Because we do not know if we get on the other side, what sort of position we found ourselves. So IMO has to give us a big hand for those who are using only fuel compliant, or for those who opted for scrubbers. We in INTERTANKO, we do not have a position. We think that scrubbers or not, it is company choice. It's not up to the association to say something. It's funny, but in 2006, INTERTANKO even suggested to IMO, say, well, why we don't go on distillates from low sulfur content and forget about it. This was 10 years before this IMO 2020 is even started. Of course, at the time, they looked at us like crazy guys. We will end up a lot on the same thing, a lot because marine gas oil is going to be the only option out when we will be in danger of being non-compliant. And the last thing, before, just to make things easier, is an animal called greenhouse gas emission. Now we talk very rarely about this. It's very peripheral for the moment, but it will jump on us. We figured out that to face the IMO 2020 is going to take a couple of years before the market will really balance and we really know what to do and how to do it. Okay, we just have the time to get out of IMO 2020, but by 2023, we have to produce mandatory guidelines on how to cut down our gas emissions. This to get to 2050, where we should basically cut emissions by 50%. Now, I can tell you, we do not know how to do that. So, it's a big challenge. It is really the biggest challenge. Probably IMO 2020 will be a children's play against this one. The only good piece of information for me It's by that date I will be retired. Of course, as I said, it being a big program, there is the need of a big research and development action. This R&D, it will be done, of course, by the shipyards, engine manufacturers, naval architects, all the people who are involved in the construction and the project of the ship. Not certainly us owners. Sorry if I underline this, because they are already talking about a fund which must be financed by the owner in way to finance the R&D, which is going. This is not going to happen, or not. I mean, I will be fighting this all my time, because when you buy your car, you pay for the R&D of the car in the price. You didn't finance Nissan or Toyota to do the research before that. So I don't see why we should do the same thing. But anyhow, we have a lot of things at stake. We'll see how it will go. I'm pretty sure we will face all the challenges and we will solve it because we solved so many. Think only of a double R. I mean, we rebuilt the entire tanker fleet in 10 years, but we did it. So we can do this and we can do more. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.